So the other day, I had a lucid dream. Hand on my heart, I swear to God I'm not lying, I had a lucid dream. I knew that I was in a dream. I think this has only ever happened to me once before, and I want to document it because it's something that doesn't happen often and I doubt will ever happen to me again. The first time I ever heard of the term lucid dreaming was when Star Trek's Voyager's episode Waking Moments aired on Sky 1 sometime around early 1998. In the episode, an alien race with telepathic abilities attack and trap the crew in their dreams. A few months after I watched that episode, I went to bed and suddenly I found myself having one of these lucid dreams. In the dream I was on my schoolyard and I distinctly remember realising that I was in a dream. I said it out loud, I was like, this is a dream, I'm in a dream. In an attempt to control the dream, I tried to do what any 10-year-old would have done. I tried to fly into the air, but instead of taking flight, when I jumped into the air I sort of bounced. I got a fair bit into the air, but ultimately I couldn't control anything. I woke up next day thinking, wow, I knew I was in a dream. That's so weird. In my attempt to take flight, I looked down at the ground and it looked like everything was through the lens of a fisheye lens. I remember a distinct colour of crimson. But the other day, by complete accident, I found myself in the same scenario. But I remember far more this time, so I'll attempt to accurately and honestly describe everything as best I can. So I went to bed to lay down. It was during the daytime. I was tired, so I decided to take a power nap. And just as I was crossing the threshold of being awake to falling asleep, something must have happened that made me self-aware. Because instantly, from the get-go, I knew that I was dreaming. I had the choice to wake myself. I knew that all I had to do was lift my eyelids, but since I knew I was dreaming, I decided I shouldn't wake myself. Rather, I should stay in the dream and experience everything that's going on. I knew I was dreaming, but I think because I was in a dream state, I wasn't completely in my right mind. My dreams don't really look like the movie Inception or anything like that, nor did my lucid dream. It looks nothing like that. It looks more like what AI looks like when it tries to replicate a scene of a person. Everything changes shape, every person changes shape, everything is changing in real time, from one moment to the next in a type of blur. So I found myself on a sandy coloured Toulousian looking street that didn't quite belong to my century. Walking down the street felt more like I was drifting, like I was floating along. I didn't try to control anything like I did in the first lucid dream, but I did decide to interact with the random people that I was passing by. I wondered what they might say to me because essentially I'd be talking to myself, right? I managed to stop one old person. He was stout, elderly, and with a full head of short hair. He kinda looked like a 90s cartoon, but not really. I said, hello, what are you up to? Something to that effect, and more or less he said, get the fuck away from me. Suddenly I found myself drifting again, but in the direction that I came from. Then a gang whose faces I couldn't make out were in front of me. The environment around me then changed from a street to what looked like a train station. I was now in search of a toilet. I needed to go. When I went into the toilet in the train station, all I could find in the men's bathrooms were cubicles filled with urinals where the toilet should have been. I knew full well there should have been a toilet there, but there wasn't. In the other cubicle there was a hole at the bottom of the wall that led outside. The environment felt cold, dark and damp, kinda like in the movie Saw. I really needed to go, so I tried to access the female bathrooms. It was either that or shit myself. But the female bathroom was even stranger. In toilet number 1 there was just a chair for sanitary towels apparently. For some reason I knew it was for sanitary towels. Then in the next cubicle there was a surfboard looking thing. That was no use either. As I left, the environment changed around me once again, leading me to a stairs with a sign above me saying extra toilets. At this point of the dream I think is where I had lost my awareness that it was actually a dream, because I should have woke myself if I needed to go that badly, right? As I went down the stairs, the big stairs I was on sort of morphed into tiny little stairs in between the normal ones. I next found myself in a dirty basement turning a corner. The environment had changed to me again. It was like a cross between a fire escape, a shopping mall basement and a dump. To the right of me there was 2 old vending machines sort of stacked beside one another. You know, the old Coca-Cola vending machines from the 90s. Surrounding it there was a clutter of random waste. As I went down to go to the next set of steps, I passed by 2 older women dressed as shopping mall cleaners. Beyond the second woman there was a pile of discarded chocolate bars and sweets in a bin. I felt compelled to take a twirl bar that was sat on the top for some reason, so that's what I did. But the moment I did it, I realised I'd stolen something. One of the women turned to me and asked to see what was in my hand. She could hear the rustling in my hand. I said I was looking for a bathroom. Again she tried to see what was in my hand, but I wouldn't let her. Suddenly I'm surrounded by male security guards. They're all looking to see what's in my hand. I fled the scene, and after that I think is where I woke up. Do you want to know the most ironic thing about all of that? I didn't actually need to go to the bathroom when I woke up. Now, I don't know what any of that meant, but I do wonder if I could replicate a lucid dream again. If I could somehow harness control of my dreams, could I essentially get a lot more things done creatively? If I could imagine myself in a room with a desk, could I essentially lay out all my thoughts, hopes, dreams and tasks and sort them out? I did have another dream a while back. It wasn't a lucid dream, but it definitely felt close and important enough for me to write about it. So, on the 25th of the 1st, 2025, here's what I wrote. I had a dream earlier today. Essentially, I was just hanging out in my own head. I did box balling and practiced boxing. The room I was in was big. In the dream it was my home, but in reality it didn't belong to anyone. The architecture was a hodgepodge of everything. The room I was in was huge, but it didn't look like an Irish home. Yet outside the garden and the landscape looked Irish. So I was boxing, hitting various things, but also examining my body and looking at how overweight I was. The dream seemed to accentuate my flaws and the things I'm not happy with, but not in a way that made me feel bad, but more in a way of telling me this is what's wrong and this is what you need to fix. It didn't feel like my insecurities were attacking me. It just felt like damage report, damage analysis. I was okay with it. No one seemed to be around, but then my dad arrived. I recently completed an exam in French and I was waiting on my A1 results, and I asked if they had arrived. He spoke to me not as an equal, but as if I was still a child. It was comforting, and apparently I scored high. I'm not sure what my dreams were about that led up to this one, but it was nice. It felt like an intermission from life or something, like a checkpoint. It's hard to explain, but I would like to dream like this a bit more. If I could, then maybe it could be like living two different lives. I don't know. It wasn't like a lucid dream. I wasn't aware it was a dream, so it's not a lucid dream, I guess. It may never happen again, but I'm eager to know more. It's interesting. It's interesting that I had a dream like that weeks prior to having this one. Maybe I'm tapping into something here. Maybe if I can learn how to meditate or something. Maybe if I can learn to give myself a prompt, I could make it happen again and eventually, whenever I want. Wouldn't it be cool to live two lives? Wouldn't it be cool to live in both a dream reality and the regular reality? But I want to pass the question off to you, my viewer. Have you ever had a lucid dream? And if so, what happened in it? I want to know everything, so please don't hesitate to leave a comment below. And thanks very much for listening.